Welcome back to the throne room. I'm your host, Alex King. Yo, alright, we're finally making videos now. I think it's important for, we're a little hot right now. We're a little hot. I think it's important for podcasts to kind of expand, and I think this is a perfect way to do that. Okay? So, welcome to YouTube. From the office of the throne room, welcome to YouTube. We really welcome you here. I don't know who I'm welcoming, or who we are, or who you are, or what the show's pronouns are. You can write it in the comments. We'll figure out what the show's gender is. We'll figure it out. But welcome back. Okay. Last episode was, really wasn't an episode. It was sort of just a connecting episode because I hadn't posted for so long. The show kind of went dead, and really that was because there was a lot going on in my life and trying to figure everything out. But we got a lot of that figured out right now. We got a lot of it figured out, and so we're good. We're back, and we're sort of reinventing the whole show. Kind of. We're still going to talk about sports, but we're going to talk about everything else. If you want more details, go listen to the last episode. So we're just going to pretend like this whole gap never existed, and we're just going to go on as if it never happened. All right. Obviously it happened. I don't like excuses, but anyway, the show must go on. So, quick plug before we start. We got some stuff to talk about, and I might get to ranting. So it'll be interesting. It'll be fun for the whole family. Bring your friends, your dogs, your cats. Bring your whole father. Bring him here, because we want him to sit down around the fire and enjoy. So, go to Apple Podcast, that purple icon on your phone. It comes pre-downloaded unless you delete it or hide it in your BS folder. Go there, give it a review. You can write your favorite, book, your favorite ice cream flavor. You could write down the last time you used the restroom. Not that I want to know that, but just anything. As long as you give us 5 stars, I'll sleep happy. I'll sleep happy. Also, we updated the Patreon. We, as in the throne room staff, which is really just me, updated the Patreon. So let me break it down for you. Okay, this is gonna be really simple. Let me break this down. I'm gonna show off the bling here too. My gosh. Okay, jeez, it's icy in here. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we updated the tiers. Okay. When you go onto the Patreon, by the way, links in the Instagram and Twitter bio. This is gonna be real quick, so we'll get to the good stuff. All right. So listen, you have the intern position on Patreon. Okay. I myself am an intern. I've been an intern for a while at 2 different companies, so I know what that's about. For those of you who have been interns in the past, you know what it's about. It's $1 a month. Okay. You're going to get a shout out on the show and all the social media. It's pretty simple. It's for those of you who want to just put enough in, but you don't want to go all you're not diving in. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So then we have what's known as the producer. Okay. That's the second level tier. It's $5 a month. Okay. Cheaper than any subscription, any streaming service you got, any music service you got, and you're gonna get a bonus episode every month. Okay, so included in or every week. I don't know. I think it's every month actually. You're gonna get a bonus episode in addition to however many episodes we put out, which is gonna be a lot more. And then we got the executive producer. Okay, so the executive producer, basically they are men and women who literally hold gravity in their hand. I mean, they keep the earth spinning around the sun. they do it with their minds. They do it with their minds. They spend $10 a month investing in the show, and it blows my mind, the people that do that. So you know what I'm saying? Go do it. Go invest in the show. Now that that's over, we're gonna go ahead and get into this. So when I was doing research for the show, I kind of just look up what I want to talk about, and there's some stuff that I want to talk about, and then there's some stuff that I don't want to talk about. One of the things that I don't want to talk about is seeing like stupid like quarterback ratings. They always exist, and this one in particular is about like young quarterback ratings, and they're dumb. So many of us who are in school, I'm sure you're in high school. If you're not, you're in college. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So don't be dumb. Okay, so these are all sort of the new generation quarterbacks, guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Did I say Josh Jackson? Josh Allen. I didn't mean to say it. We'll have to fix that in post. We're not going to fix it in post. You know what I'm saying? Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, guys like that. So the new sort of era of quarterbacks, okay? Whoever graded this guy, Chris something from CBS Sports, I'm not going to give him full credit because I wouldn't want to present this to anybody who's reputable, because this is garbage. This whole thing's garbage. Okay, so it's not slander because his name it might not be Chris. It's something from something. Okay, so listen, Chris, let's talk. Okay, let's talk, Chris. All right, let's just have a chat. You know what I'm saying? So, first of all, Lamar Jackson. We're going to start off with Lamar Jackson because he's the MVP, no doubt. Everybody knows he's going to be the MVP. He gives him a B+. Now this, I agree with you here, Chris. I agree with you, Chris. A B+, I think, is seamless. I think it is to the point. I think it is fairly accurate, plus or minus, a couple points here and there. All right, maybe an A-. I mean, when you're the MVP, are we giving you a B? I mean, when you win the MVP, the most valuable player in football in the whole universe, depending on aliens, whatever, we're giving you a B? That's it? That's it. That's where we're cutting you off. You can't, no A's. We can't get an A, even if you're the most valuable player. Hold on. Let's give him an A. Okay? Why not? I mean, you'd give, like, Drew Brees a B, and we'll get to Drew Brees, because, okay? So, I agree with you here. I would give him an A- instead of a B+, and again, you can get, like, an 89 is a B, right? But a 90 is an A-, so it's really a couple points off, but I'd agree with you there. I'm with you there, Chris. Okay, and he kind of gives some best throws, worst throws. We're not going to get into that because that's real ticky-tacky, just kind of stuff that really is not great. The point is the guy can do it with his legs, and last year he was the most accurate thrower among quarterbacks, which is insane because he's still like, in his adolescent years in the league, so it's ridiculous. And people said he was going to be a running back, and I actually said he was going to be a running back, so that's on me. He proved me wrong. And idiots like me, he proved me wrong. So, what are you going to do? So, Sam Darnold for the Jets. Okay, wow. He gives him a C. So, I'm just going to break this down logically. I mean, you're going to give the MVP of all football a B. And then Sam Darnold a C? No, I mean think about that, because like I said, you can get within a point and change letter grades. Like 79 is a C, but then an 80 is a B. Chris, man. I'm talking to you, Chris. I want to make this as personable as possible. Chris, are you eating enough? Are you okay? Are we okay? Are we fine? What's going on? What's up? Huh? All right. I'm telling you, man. This stuff is garbage. Kyler Murray. Okay, let's go to Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray. Chris, let's... I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's going to hurt me to say this, but Kyler Murray gets an A. He gets an A. Chris, how are you going to have Lamar Jackson, your season MVP, the most valuable player in all of football for the entire universe, aliens, whatever, and then you're going to give Kyler Murray with the Cardinals? You're going to give him an A? Really? I mean, stats-wise, it's just not happening for you, pal. Dude. Wow, man. I mean, Kyler's a great quarterback. He's a good... great, relax. Okay, he's a good quarterback. I mean, he's not bad. He can do some things with his legs. He can do some things with his arms. He's accurate, but he's inconsistent as heck. He's not always in the right headspace, it seems like. He's not sort of all there. I'm all good. I'm fine on Kyler Murray. By the way, side note, I just noticed, for those of you who might not know, if you're listening on audio only, go over to YouTube. Check us out, YouTube/The Throne Room. Anyway, here's Baker Mayfield. Okay, and first of all, like I said, he has the best throws and worst throws. I mean, he has it play by play. Baker, oh wow, this is great, man, because this is another Chris. This is another one where it's super weird. It's super inconsistent. So first of all, he gave Baker Mayfield a C, okay, which is, not bad. I wouldn't give him a passing grade, maybe a 69. You know what I'm saying? But so the number of he has best throws and worst throws. So best throws is 5 lines, and then worst throws is 12 lines. So it's bro. And then you give him a C, but then for Kyle Allen, who also got a C, best throws is 10 lines and worst throws is 4. Which I promise you I could find a lot of more worst throws for Kyle Allen. I promise. Gardner Minshew was on here. He also got a C. Here's the thing with Gardner. I mean, I feel like he's one of those guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick, where he kind of does good for a little while, maybe a season, maybe. I mean, the dude was electric early on in the year, and then kind of just, people kind of stopped talking about him because Lamar Jackson started, tearing up football fields and whatnot with his legs. I mean, yeah, his is exactly even best throws and worst throws. I mean, he's good. He's a good quarterback. I would like to have him on my team if I had nobody better. Yeah, man, Chris, we got to talk about this grading system. I mean, this is not good. And then Dwayne Haskins, same thing. He had a good game this past week, but again, you give him a C. I'm just really wow, man. I mean, I agree with some of those C's in there. I'm with you on the C's. Gardner, as a whole season, a season average, I'd give him a C. First couple games, dude's got a 89 or a 90. Dude's killing it. And the stash is style points for sure, because, Lord knows I'm not rocking it. Somebody please tell me to shave it, because, it's a hard time. It really is. It's a hard time living with something so gross on your face. I'll be honest with you. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. It's gross. It's gross. So, man. So yeah, that's. I didn't enjoy reading that. And I read through a lot of it, and I just got tired of it because I was like, okay, this is so wishy-washy. I mean, who do I believe here? Because when you put, by the way, the highest grade was Lamar Jackson, which makes me feel good, but I mean, it's not Lamar Jackson is outperforming everybody else by so much. I mean, especially at least everyone on this list, because this is everyone that's like sort of new school quarterback. Like Russell Wilson, the runner-up for MVP, he's not on this list. So that's why it's like, okay, you're giving Lamar Jackson a B. Okay, weird. First of all, second of all, you're giving everybody else like a C. There's no failing grades. And it's so obvious when you watch these people play that there's some larger disparities between these guys. There is. I mean, just look at the team's record. I mean, not that it's like that's all it boils down to by any means, but I mean, you can kind of just, it's a dead giveaway at some points. So I'm just, it's rough. It's rough. It's rough. Give Lamar Jackson an A. He's the best, he's the most valuable player in the whole universe. Aliens, whatever you want to talk about. Mixed reviews on Star Wars. We're gonna transition. We're gonna move along. Okay, here. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Okay, I have been for a very long time. I'm a Star Wars nerd. Okay, and it is troubling to me to see where the Star Wars franchise is headed. I was optimistic, to say the most, when I heard about Episode 8, because when Episode 7 was announced, The Force Awakens, I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to reboot this whole not reboot, but they're going to start up this whole thing. It's going to be some awesome story. I'm hyped. I'm ready for this. I'm buying my ticket now. Like, oh my, this is going to be dope. And then I watch it, and I leave the theater like, yeah, that was cool. That was good. Okay, some parts that I didn't like. It was a little cartoony, and that might be the point. That might have been the point. I don't know. Wasn't for me. I liked the originals the best, but the prequel. It's like the original trilogy's here, and then the prequels are like right here, because I like the prequel. I mean, when I say the prequels, I mean I loved Episode 3. That's really it. That's all I got. I really loved Episode 3. Episode 2, I'm with it. Episode 1, yeah, I'll pass. I'm all good on Phantom Menace. Jar Jar Binks is a little... I'm sorry, you're not in my camp, okay? I was about to say something very controversial about Jar Jar Binks, and I'm not going to say that because I don't want to get demonetized before I'm monetized, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Episode 8, not a fan. I really enjoyed some parts of it. Like, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Episode 8, which, it's been a couple years, Yoda showing up? Dude, yeah. I was into that. Seeing Yoda with, or was that Episode 7 or Episode 8? No, it was Episode 8, right? Yeah, I should know that. Episode 8, when Yoda showed up, I was like, dude, that's amazing. I'm really questioning it. Was it Episode 7? No, I think it was Episode 8. No, it was Episode 8. It was. Like 70% it was Episode 8. But when he showed up, dude, fire. I think I need some more polarization. And there wasn't any polarization in Episode 8, because I think everybody in the back of their heads is thinking, Kylo Ren's kind of on the fence about this whole dark side thing. What are we going to do? And, like, I guess if they were which Episode 7 was a copy and paste from, the OG Star Wars. But I think if they are trying to do something new, then it's just hard to do something new when everybody's used to, like, sort of the same template. And if you got to do something new, you got to do something completely new. Because here's the problem: when you film episode 7, right, and it is an exact copy and paste of episode 6 or episode 4, when it's an exact copy and paste, you can't change it after that. Like, you either copy and paste it and like this is where you're taking it, or you're just scrapping, you're starting from scratch and you're saying, okay, here's these new characters, here's some references, but like we're not going back. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's where I think the polarization, like that's where I think the split between fans is like, some people watched episode 7 and they're like, okay, they're copying and pasting, we didn't like that, we want something new. And then episode 8 was completely new and just there were a lot of problems with it. And we can talk about the problems with it because I want to make sure everybody's aware. And so that's where they're like, okay, we like that because it's new and it's cheesy and political and for some reason. And then, but the people over here are like, okay, we don't want a copy and paste. We want, something new, but again, references to the past. And does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not smart. But I think what they need to do is just act like 7 and 8 never happened. Of course, they can't do that because they're not going to do that, obviously. But they're going to make 8. They're going to make 9, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be exactly like 8 for me. They're going to try to make it political because for some reason episode 8 was overgorgedly political. Overgorgedly? Is that a word? Overgorgedly. You understand that? Yeah. I'm going to put it on a t-shirt and sell it. Okay? Overgorgedly. It was ridiculously political for no reason. And I'm like, dude, there's enough of that on Twitter, and I don't like seeing it because, and I'm a fairly political person. Like, I have my opinions, I have my views, but don't put that in a Star Wars movie. Come on. What are you doing? You putting, like, left-wing political undertones in my Star Wars? Like, dude, no. I wouldn't put right-wing stuff in Star Wars. Like, it's Star Wars. Like, leave it, So there was that. There was the fact that, for some reason, I don't want to get into, because it's lasers, but when they were firing on the ship, when the Imperials were not the Imperials, but when the First Order was firing down on the ship and they were just waiting for them to run out of fuel, the things they were shooting out were like, they had an arch. Now, I'm an engineering student, so that kind of makes me qualified to say this. But there's no gravity. There is gravity, but there's not enough gravity in space to pull down, a projectile. There's no gravity there. So how are you gonna arch? How are you gonna have a projectile that arches? Because there's no force vector to push down to pull down your projectile. I might be crazy. Maybe there's a way to do it. Maybe because it's just this make-believe thing that you can do it. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But just for everyone's reference, in the real world, that's not how it works. You can't. There's no force vector in space that pulls things down due to gravity. That's just not how it works. So we're gonna move on. Mixed reviews on Star Wars. Some people are saying that there was good parts and bad parts, which is exactly what 8 was, and it's super disappointing because when you have this whole reveal to bring back Palpatine, okay, when you do that, you are putting a lot of stock in this movie. You're hyping it up. And is that a good thing for you? Yeah, because you're going to have a lot of ticket sales, and you're gonna sell merch, you're gonna sell merchandise, you're gonna sell merch and merchandise. Yeah, you're gonna sell merch. Your profitability is gonna go up. You're gonna get more traction because people are gonna be talking about the movie. Yo, have you heard that Palpatine's back? That's all great, but you gotta follow it up. The infrastructure around the big reveal has to support the heavy load, and I don't think it does. I don't think it's going to, because Episode 8 didn't. I mean, their big thing was like, yo, Luke's gonna die and raise the Last Jedi now, and that was such a huge load to carry that the infrastructure around it, the story around it, the plot line around it just couldn't carry it. It was such a big thing that it just weighed down everything else because it just wasn't strong enough. Those other parts weren't good enough. They were weak and nobody liked them. So people took their eyes off of like, oh my god, this huge reveal. Luke's dead and now he's a Force ghost and now Rey's this new Jedi and there's this whole new order now. And then Kylo Ren might be a bad guy, might be a good guy. They might be in love secretly or whatever. He might be trying to come back to the light side. And then also Princess Leia has the Force now somehow for some reason with no, prior knowledge of her having it, without any training, without anything. She can come back to life now. When she died in real life, so it's kind of like, what are you going to do now? Because she's alive in the movie still when you killed her off, and then she came back to life, but then she was dead. So it's like, that whole thing, that's not strong enough. I mean, that's like putting like a little person holding up this huge weight, and the weight is Luke Skywalker dies. So it's too weak. People are going to focus on the bad stuff in general, people are going to focus on the bad stuff more than the good stuff. Just in general. I mean, in any part of life, people are going to focus on your failures more than your successes. I mean, that's just how it is. Like, and I've experienced it too. Like, a lot. We're getting deep now. What the heck? What's going on now? No, like, a lot of times, like, people, like, I'll do something good, or I'll have an achievement, and it's like, okay, that's great. Celebrate that for a little while and then get back to the grind. But then there's people that are still stuck in the past that are like, no, but you did that way back when, or you did that now, so really it doesn't validate the truth. And it's like, or it doesn't validate your successes. And it's like, but you have no room to talk, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, ranting, you know what I'm saying? So moving on. Star Wars is probably not going to be great. If I were to rate it, I'm going to rate it. I'm going to give it a grade. D+. D+. And I'm a big Star Wars fan, so it kind of hurts me to say that it's going to fail. But it's going to fail. It's going to fail. Because they're going to make it political. Nobody likes that. Except for, like, well, never mind. I'm not going to say that. I saw a video, and when I watch like memes and stuff, like I follow like some meme accounts on Instagram, and I usually like don't laugh when I see something really funny. Like, even if like in your head you'll think it's funny, you'll think it's hilarious, but you won't like really chuckle, you won't laugh, and you'll send it to your friends and you're like, yo, this is hilarious, and really you're not really laughing. I saw and the same thing goes with videos too. I saw a video, and literally it was hilarious because it was a real thing. It wasn't like, it wasn't directed or scripted. I mean, it was a real thing. And so here's what it is. So these two dudes are sitting on the plane, and they're both on the window seat. And so the guy sitting in front of him has the window up, and it's sunny out, so the sun's coming in. So the guy behind him like reaches in like next to his seat and pulls the thing down. And so they get into this battle of opening and closing the window. And it's hilarious. The guy calls the hostess, okay? He's like, ma'am, come, this guy keeps pulling up. But they keep going back and forth. It's like, and they sound like children. I mean, you're fighting over a window being up or down. Are there not more important things to talk about? I mean, really, man. Like, people get mad over the stupidest crap. The stupidest things. Like, I mean, they're just battling back and forth for this thing, man. Like, I remember this past summer, I would come home from work, and first of all, like San Antonio drivers are the worst. I'm so glad I'm not living there anymore because it's super dangerous. These people are terrible drivers, so you would get onto the highway from like a ramp, from a turn on ramp, and when that rightmost lane merges with the merge lane, people got to merge in, and it's kind of a difficult thing if you're not used to it. So you watch people try to merge on the lane, and for some reason, I mean, people that are already on the highway just don't like letting people over. I don't know why. But I mean, where are they gonna go? Where are you gonna go? Like what? Like I'm driving and it's like, okay, let me over, man, because hey, guess what? Like, I kind of got to get on the highway instead of just ride this shoulder all the way to Kingdom Come. And there's nobody in front of you or behind you. It's like you either speed up or slow down. There's 2 pedals. It's not like complicated. Just let the person on. And when they don't let them in, it's like they get into these honking matches, and it's ridiculously insane. Like, oh my gosh, we're freaking out. We're gonna, I literally watched a woman. Okay, not that it matters, but I literally watched this woman in like a Prius. Like, the person didn't let her over. She's trying to merge onto the highway, and she's like, acting like she's gonna hit this car. And she's like swerving back and forth and like will jerk back and like get like super close to this car. And it's insane how stupid people can get. How dumb. Like, what's up? What's going on? Have you eaten today? Chris, I know you're still listening. Chris, what's going on, man? Are we okay? Are we fine? It's insane, man. But literally it made me laugh so hard because, I mean, they're children, and the guy's like, please stop messing with me. And if it was me, like, I'm trying to put myself in this guy's shoes. I mean, I'm sitting on a plane, okay? And I have my window open, some guy keeps shutting it, and I'm like, no, I gotta read, or whatever, I gotta do homework, I need it open. So I open it back up, and immediately the guy closes it back down. He says, no, I want it closed. And it's like, well, okay, I want it open. It's like, no, I want it closed. Okay, I want it open. And they go back and forth. But if it's me, okay, close it. All right? In 10 minutes, I'm going to open it again. I'd give it some time. I'd really let this guy think that he won. And then I just open it again. And if he closes it, I mean, if the guy asks nicely, I'd be like, yeah, let's make a deal. Okay? A businessman in me, you know what I'm saying? Let's make a deal, chief, all right? How about we leave it open for a little while, all right? And then when, or we leave it closed, whatever you want, we'll leave it closed. And then how about we call 15 minutes or whatever, how long, let's say the flight's an hour. Let's say in 30 minutes, okay, we're going to open it back up. If you don't like it, sucks, it's staying open the whole time. That's what I'd do. But I wouldn't like getting this slappy hand fight with a stranger. It's not on my to-do list, I'll be honest with you. Now we're gonna move on. I'm gonna rant a little more, I feel like, in this portion of it. So if you're the type of person that doesn't like open communication, or you're the type of person that doesn't like listening to valid arguments or like facts, and it triggers you or whatever, I mean, you might want to not listen to this part. Let me just preface this whole thing. So I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast, and I need to find out what this guy's name is before I go any further, because I don't actually know his name. So let me hold on. Because it was a really good thing. And the guy's a genius. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but Boyan Slat. Okay? Boyan Slat. Yeah. Boyan Slat. Okay. The dude started Operation Cleanup, which is, I mean, he thought about this when he was 16 years old. Okay? He was scuba diving, and he explained this in Joe Rogan's podcast, so go check that out if you haven't listened to it. He thought of this idea when he was 16 to, okay, we know that there's this spot in the ocean that's twice the size of Texas, like the state of Texas is twice the size of Texas. There's all this trash, and it's a huge problem. I mean, it's less than 1% than all of the ocean combined, but still, I mean, it can't go anywhere. The plastic, chemically doesn't break down in the ocean. It just stays there, and fish eat it, all that good stuff. Okay, so he's scuba diving, and he sees more plastic than fish. Right, that's his thing. So he starts this whole project. It's called Operation Clean. Is that what it's called? It's called the Ocean Cleanup Project. Okay, so he makes these. It's like this, like ocean vacuum cleaner. Right here, you like that? It's this like ocean vacuum cleaner that goes through the oceans and kind of picks everything up that's floating on the top in this exact area that's twice the size of Texas, full of trash, whatever. And it kind of just picks it up on this conveyor belt. It loads it up, and then it puts it in a like an 18-wheeler trailer. And there's multiple of these things, and they're all swimming around this area. And so he might have like 2 units that are up and working now, and then there's a couple of these rivers that are responsible they're responsible for like 80% of the ocean trash buildup. So he goes to these particular rivers, and they do all this research to figure all this stuff out. And I'm like, yo, I don't have that kind of time. This dude's a genius. He's brilliant. And he goes to these rivers, and he blocks all this trash, and again he puts it in this container, this trash container, and he picks it up before it gets to the ocean and affects the wildlife. So he does all this. He's not talking about, he's not yelling at people. Okay, he's not going out and making stuff up. He's not holding press conferences and just, crying and yelling and screaming and, pitching a fit like a little brat. He's not doing that. He's going out and actually, like, pulling up his boots, pulling up his sleeves, putting the gloves on, putting the pen to the paper, whatever you want to call it. He's doing work. I mean, the kind of time. Think about all the money you have to raise to do this project. The guy thought of it when he was 16, and he's I don't know how old he is now. I mean, he's probably like in his early 20s, mid 20s. He's a little bit older than me, and he's doing this, and it's making this huge contribution to the environment, and it's cleaning up the oceans. I mean. So when Time Magazine, and I'm really not mad about this, because I understand why they did it, and I'll explain why they did it later. So when Time Magazine names Greta Thunberg Person of the Year, right? They did it because she's a child, okay, and pushing that same agenda. So obviously they're going to want somebody like that. And also, number 2, they did it because there have only been like 5 women that have been named Person of the Year. But my thing to that is Time, I mean, if you're complaining about the number of women that have been chosen for this thing, I mean, you should choose more women for it. I mean, I feel like that's sort of on you. And then they're going to say, oh, well, that's why we did Greta. And it's like, okay, cool. But I mean, pick somebody that's worthy of the action, worthy of the award. I mean, if you want to, if they sat down in a board meeting and they're like, okay, we got to pick somebody for Person of the Year, and we want it to be somebody who has contributed to the environment, who has done something to, make moves to clean up our planet. Wouldn't you want to go with the person that actually did something, like physically, rather than just, yell at the president or, cry in front of TV cameras? I mean, I might seem like insensitive for that. Like, obviously, it's an amazing award for her. I mean, like, think about how young Boyan Slat was 16 when he, actually was putting pen to paper and making these ideas up and started raising money. And she's 16 and she's one Times Person of the Year. So, obviously, for whatever that's worth for what she's done, I mean, good for her. Like, that's an amazing achievement. Maybe start actually doing something, you know what I mean? Like, start acting instead of yelling at the president for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of disingenuous, because now that award, I mean, you don't have to do as much. I mean, anybody, and I mean anybody, no matter what age, no matter what gender, no matter what skin color, can go up in front of a camera and yell at the president, and they do it every day about this or that. And so that's all you have to do to win Person of the Year. And then she, doesn't go to school. Oh, that's the other thing she did. She stopped going to school. She stopped going to school. So she won Person of the Year. So she won Person of the Year because she is a girl. She's a child. She pushed Time Magazine's agenda on climate change, which is, I mean, that's fine, whatever. It's your, publication. I don't care. She, yelled at the president, which is also their agenda. And she skipped school for X amount of months. And it's like, what is not going to school gonna prove? What's that gonna help? My bro Boyan Slat is literally raising all this money, non-profit, and he's putting pen to paper and cleaning up the oceans physically. That seems like he's deserving of an award. Am I crazy? Does that not make sense? And listen, I'm not saying that climate change isn't real. I'm not saying that there's a problem with the environment. There's some disparities with the data. There's some inconsistencies. There's some questions that I would like to see answered. I'm not out here saying that, we should just go dump a bunch of radioactive material in the forest, or, that we shouldn't be cleaner in the future. I'm not saying that. And I'm also not saying that I don't care about the turtles. I'm not saying that. I think what Mr. Slat is doing is awesome. Clean up the ocean. You know what I'm saying? Why not? Why wouldn't you do that? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying any of that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that I feel like Time should look at somebody who's actually done something for the environment, rather than some child that just yelled at the president and then stopped going to school on a climate strike or whatever. Maybe I'm just an actions person. I think I really am just an actions person, because I hear all the time, I see all these motivational videos on YouTube and social media, and and I know a lot of people that watch them, and it does good stuff for them. That's awesome. Do your thing, man. But for me, I mean, I'm I don't see you actually doing that. If you're some motivational speaker, I'm not going to name any names, but if you're some motivational speaker and you do these TED Talks where you're talking about, these are the steps you need to take to be successful, or these are the steps you need to take to get in shape, but I'm more in shape than you, or I've achieved more than you, I'm not really going to take your word for it, because you haven't done what you said you're doing. You know what I mean? That's sort of the same thing. And maybe what she's doing is, maybe it's encouraged people in some way, and if that's the case, then yeah, that's what she's here for. That's awesome, But I really feel like I don't see that actually happening, and here's why. Like, all these people on Twitter, man, they say I'm not favoring any side like politically here. I'm just saying Twitter has become like way too political, and like, if you want to express an opinion, that's one thing, but people are like mean on Twitter, man. Like, people are mad, like insensitive to people's opinions. Like so what? Okay, let's just I'm not saying I agree with or disagree with this either way, but let's just say that you were on Twitter and you say like that you let's just say you just say this. Let's just say that you're like, okay, hey, I don't agree with what Trump has done every day. I don't agree with him on a lot of things. I don't agree with the type of person he is, but I will say that, his policies are helping the country out. He's not that bad. He's not, I don't buy that he's racist. Let's just say that you say that. Like, the amount of, like, death threats, like, slurs, and, like, insane things people will say to you, man. Like, have we lost the ability just to, like, talk to each other? Like, the way I was talking to Chris, buddy. Like, you didn't grade quarterbacks very well. I'm just going to say that. Like, I disagree with your point. If you want to continue to have your point of view, dude, whatever, man. That's fine. I'm going to do my thing, you do your thing, and we'll just kind of go our separate ways. But it's like, yo, if you just said, like, hey, our country's doing good right now. Yo, just think about that. If you were just to say, hey, our country's doing good right now, there would be people that would be like, oh my gosh, no, Trump is in office. Our country is literally like hell right now. It's like the level 7 of hell. And it's like, yo, but it's not. We live in the most free country in the world. And economically, we've never been more prosperity. We have the lowest number of unemployment in human history. Oh, did you hear that? That was my neck. Yo, that was insane. But I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's a hard thing, and I don't see it getting better. I see it getting worse, because once 2020 comes around, people are gonna lose their minds. No matter who wins the election, people are going to absolutely lose their minds over this thing. It's gonna be ridiculous. I'm gonna be enjoying, like, at least the first day. I'll enjoy watching just the chaos. Because I won't enjoy it. Let me be more clear. I look forward to the fact that there's going to be chaos. I really don't look forward to it either. I don't want there to be chaos. I don't want there to be chaos, but I know that there's going to be chaos. It's going to be madness. Because either way, even if Trump gets reelected or he loses, people are going to go nuts. And it's all going to go down on Twitter. The international internet battlefield, Twitter. And you're going to have the right-wing extremists, who are very few, by the way, because, I mean, I would consider myself conservative, like more like libertarian conservative, but like the crazy right-wing people, like the literally less than 0.001%, are going to, like, infiltrate and just go nuts, talking about burning down the White House or like burning down churches or something like that, something crazy. And then like the 99.999% of conservatives are going to be like, okay, well, whoever is president, like, that's my president, and we're not going to say anything crazy like that. But in 4 years we're going to, we're sad that, we're going to have a crazy person in office or whatever. But it's whatever. And then, everybody else is going to be like, yo, this is, oh my gosh, we are in heaven now. And then if Trump wins, dog, everybody that's not like libertarian or like right of libertarian is going to go nuts, dude. I mean, do you remember in 2016 all those memes of like the people like crying in the streets. It's going to be like that. Ugh. Like, what if we lived in a world? This is going to sound nuts. Ready? What if we lived in a world where I have an opinion, I express that opinion, you listen to that opinion, and then you think about it, you really let it churn in your brain, in your heart, in your toes, and you formulate your own opinion, and you put that to your tongue, and you speak it, and then you say your opinion after you heard mine, and then I get to do the same thing. I get to go back and forth. We get to have what's known in society as a civil dialogue, as a conversation, and we don't insult each other. We respect valid arguments. We, hear out fair points. We don't make fallacies. We don't lie. We don't make false information up. That's probably a big one that happens a lot nowadays on Twitter. It's wow. Imagine if that were the case. Imagine. Chris, I hope you agree with that, man. Like, I really hope that we can agree on just that. Like, if we could agree on that, man, I think the quarterback grading thing is, like, you can sweep that under the rug, man. Like, you can, honestly. Like, oh, man. Shout out to Boy and Slot, too. Cleaning up the oceans. It's something else, man. Listen, I can't say it any better myself, but we're finally on YouTube. So, thanks so much for watching this video. If you're listening on audio only still, I promise it's going to be better on YouTube. But, however, if you want to be a baller and you don't want to spend money, go to Apple Podcasts. It's that purple icon. Give us a review, a rating, or whatever you want to call it. Do that. I'm going to yawn here in a little bit, so... that yawn was sponsored by the Throne Room. But no. If you want to be a sponsor of the show, if you want to invest in me, if you want to invest in the show, we're just going to talk about anything. It doesn't have to be political. It doesn't have to be sports. It could be like a funny story or, whatever. But we want to talk about it. And if you have topic suggestions, hit me up on social media, Instagram.com/TheThroneRoom or Twitter.com/TheThroneRoom. All the links to those accounts are on the YouTube channel. Go to the YouTube channel. They'll have all the links there. It's going to be fire. Do it. Get it done. Make it happen. Go on Patreon. Become either an intern, a producer, or an executive producer. Okay? And subscribe on freaking YouTube, man. You know what I'm saying? That'd be awesome. We're going to have merch up in a little bit. I don't really have much else to say. Y'all are awesome, though. I really appreciate the support. It's gonna be a good return. We're gonna come back strong. Okay, strong. I promise. It's gonna be huge. Okay. No, but I mean it. I'm excited. So, thanks so much for watching or listening or whatever. And you know what? Have a great day. Shout out to Chris. Woo!